myself, several other streamers and YouTubers, and then a giant chunk of press were wined and dined, and then given the chance to have hands-on experience with Dark Souls 3. And we were asked to hold on to our impressions until 2 minutes ago. And we can finally talk about it. And they gave us some things here. Some artwork and some screenshots that we can share with you guys. As I'm sure you guys saw yesterday, the Dark Souls 3 gameplay trailer is out. DS3 drunk. Yes. If you didn't see the gameplay trailer, ! DS3 in chat. Check that out. Because it's pretty cool and stuff. Once again, one more thing before continuing. Keep in mind that these are my impressions. I am very much not a... I'm not a reviewer. I'm not a person who does this kind of thing often. So I focus on very different things than you might expect. I'm not going to have all these certain details, but I'll do my best to answer. We can do some Q&A after I go through my whole spiel, and I'll do my best to answer you guys. And the last thing is that in no way have my opinions been swayed by Bandai Namco in any way. No way. They do not pay us. All they do is they provide us a way to check out the game. And either I talked to the community manager, Jay. He's a super awesome dude, down to earth. He's just like, we just want to bring you guys out here and check out the stuff. And if you hate it, that's fine. We just know that you're big fans, and we want you guys to see it. So, anyways, Sir Gravy Bacon. Thank you for the sub, Sir Gravy Bacon. Welcome to the Gravy Wolf Pack. Bacon Pack. Wolf Bacon. Wolf Bacon? No, don't. Anyways, as you might know, that Gamescom's going on. They've got hands-on stuff. They're official to the public. There might be more footage coming soon. But anyways, I'm going to start from... Just Gaming. Thank you for the reset. I'm going to start from the beginning. So, the trip. I flew out to San Francisco last Wednesday morning. Got in pretty early. Met up with Man vs. Game. Hung out with him for like 2 hours. He's a super cool dude. Just like he is on stream, I don't know. Very, very open, easy to talk to. Melection, thank you for the resub as well. I know there's gameplay of Dark Souls 3 out, yes, already. I'm talking about, like, more. I don't know. More. Did I play the same demo as shown at E3? Yes. Yes, I did. Anyways, I'm going to be answering questions later. So, maybe I'll just do this. I don't have screenshots to show you right now. No mic. Not playing. No. There you go. There you go. That helps you focus a bit, maybe. Okay. Got in, hung out with Man vs. Game, ran around the airport for a while. We taxied over to a bar where we met the community manager for... that's not true. We didn't taxi to a bar. We just met him on a street corner. And then we walked and had lunch somewhere. Then we went to a bar. Then we met up with the other streamers and YouTubers who were arriving, which if you may or may not know them, Dave Control Live was there. Terra Mantis was there. Barneezy Jones, he's also a Twitch streamer. I think that was it. I'm probably forgetting somebody, and I feel like an asshole. But, yes. Anyways, we all met there. We moved over to a giant bus where we got on a bus with a bunch of the rest of the press. There were people from like IGN, US Gamer, stuff like that. Oh yeah, Ty was there. Dreaded Cone was there. I'm sorry. How could I forget his snow cone hair? His Blood Dragon mod. Far Cry Blood Dragon modded hair. I'm silly Boos. Silly Boos? What? Anyways, we all get on this bus. There's a bunch of press. We drive an hour north, check into a hotel in Napa Valley. This is all boring. And then, not too much later, we shuttle over to the castle, which is called the Castello di Amorosa. Castello di Amorosa in sunshiny California. Which, I haven't actually looked up the details, but it's actually a castle that was like, they had castle parts shipped over from Europe, and they rebuilt it from scratch. They had some other stuff that they you know, and it's not all castle stuff. They did fill in the gaps there, but legit castle. Actually, I have hold on. Let me see. I have pictures here. Where did I should have prepared these pictures to put on my computer so I could show you. But instead, I'm going to show you them on my phone. Which is the best idea ever. Where is it? Here you go. You can see that, right? Yeah, there you go. That's the front of the castle. It does not look large from the outside, but it goes underground and is like massive. It's like you get completely lost because you go underground. Tons of tunnels, dungeons, and all that stuff. Wait, can I put chat on here? Oh, I can. Oh, I can. It needs to be a little fixed. Did they steal Sin's Fortress? Yes. Definitely. The castle sounds like a Souls level. It was like starting the Undead Asylum. Honestly, a lot of it was. It was very narrow hallways. Thank you for the resub, Kadrin. Very narrow hallways with like, you know, barred doorways, like prison cells. And there were casks of wine everywhere. Everywhere. So many. So it's a winery. So that's to be fair. But literally, like, you can see. I promise you can see it. Those are wine casks, barrels, whatever you want to call them. Everywhere. Instead of prisoners, they were holding wine. Wine barrels, prisoner, everywhere. They even had, when you first walk inside, they have these massive casks that were like literally 15 feet tall, like one gigantic barrel. And I was like, what the fuck? They had like 3 of those right at the entrance. So much wine. I can't overstate how much wine there was. They led us down past all these wine barrels into the armory, where there were things like this armor set. They had legit armor, some legit, some replica stuff, but they had armor sets, weapons on the walls, all this stuff. I was in wine country, yes. And they had set up kind of the same thing they had at E3, where they were interviewing us, our impressions about, you know, what we were expecting from Dark Souls 3, what the castle was like, what our backgrounds are, who we are, what we do. And of course, this was right after my 28-hour stream, which included Lifeline. And I was yelling so much during that stream that I just had no voice. I was talking like this. I can't even fake it. It's hard to fake no voice. But, you know, I did my best with the interview. I don't know if they're going to use anything. Probably not. But you never know. There was the same guys who used my footage from E3, and they were like, don't worry about it. Well, yeah, just do your best. We'll see how it goes. After that, after the armory room, you go down like a little staircase, and there's a torture room. I don't think I have any torture room pictures. Perfect music. But they have perfect music for describing torture rooms. But they had a giant, they had an Iron Maiden. That was a replica. I don't think that was actually a used thing. They had a couple little rooms where you had to like duck to walk in. There were more prison cells, a bunch of weapons, like a torture like table, a bunch of stuff like that. It was pretty gruesome. Anyways, after the torture room, they lead us outside there. Turn left. There's this huge banquet hall. Huge banquet hall with, again, on the sides of the rooms, full of barrels. Just barrels everywhere. This is the picture that I have. It was very dark. If you look on my Instagram, this was on there. And potentially my Twitter as well. But, so there's a table, a huge long table. In the back, you can't see it, but right there it says Dark Souls 3. They had all this orange lighting. I don't know. Those pictures are on my Twitter somewhere and on my Instagram. But it was this super long, 50-person table with chairs and silverware and all that. They showed us that, and we're like, well, okay, cool. This is, what? What the fuck? I did not roll into the barrels. They looked very sturdy, and I was not confident in my ability to do so. So after they showed us all this real quick, then they started pulling us for interviews, kind of like 2 at a time. We went upstairs to this courtyard area where they had this harp and lute player. Hard to tell. They had a harpist and a lutist. And this guy, can I zoom in? Maybe you can see there. It's really blurry. But this guy looked exactly like, oh yeah, you can see that. He was the most interesting man in the world. And he was, stay thirsty, my friends. While he played lute for us. No, he didn't say that at all, but he totally looks like that dude, right? Harpist, yeah. Lutist. Harpies confirmed for Dark Souls. Yeah, maybe. Anyways, he's gonna be the final boss. Absolutely. So we were up there. They had wine and stuff, and for the most part, everybody was standing around awkwardly and like talking about Dark Souls, like you do. And then after enough interviewing and all that stuff, they took us downstairs to the dining room. We all sat down. They brought us. The only silverware there was a knife. There was no forks. So eat with your hands. Get all grimy and dirty. Oh, my Instagram is the LobosJr. I think there's a command, right? There you go. The LobosJr. If you want to follow that. Anyways, so we go down the table. They bring us, course by course, meat by meat, some food. The first thing is these gigantic turkey legs, which nobody takes. They're like, that's cool. I'm gonna see what's coming next, because that's absurd. That's an absurd amount of meat for me to eat, considering we know that there's gonna be more food. Then they've got like pork sausage. It was really good. Little meat skewers, beef skewers. Like asparagus. Why? And other shit. And then they brought us wine and stuff, which they kept going, you want more wine? I was like, yeah, I want more wine. Of course. Then I talked to like this guy on my right who was a game reviewer for about 30 minutes about TurboGrafx. I sat next to Man vs. Game, and I talked to him, sure, but mostly I talked to this guy about TurboGrafx games. I gave him my card, so maybe he's here. Hi. Hi, if you are. Otherwise, dinner went by pretty quickly. Ate our foods. Talked about TurboGrafx. Castlevania. Oh, no, Dracula X. It was Tiger Crush. It was... No, it wasn't. All right, then they took us back upstairs to that courtyard place where they had official... There's a school for medieval combat in the area, and they had representatives there. Medieval combat. Oh, yeah, be right back. One sec. So here I have my own hand and a half Irish ring sword here, and it's fine and dandy and all that. But they did give us, this is much later, but now that I'm thinking about it, they gave us Dark Souls 3 shields. This is a leather and wooden shield. The medieval combat trainers, teachers, whatever, actually constructed these in the way that they do normal shields. And then I'm pretty sure Bandai Namco just went and plopped their logo on there. So now I've got a sword and a shield. Although this is, yeah, it's kind of, it can go one-hander. It's a little bit big for a one-handed shield, but... Stab! So now I'm really ready for the zombie apocalypse. Stats! Parry you. Oh, I almost stabbed my monitor. It's okay. Anyways, that was the little bit of swag that we picked up from the journey. In any case, they were there doing demonstrations of medieval combat with a long sword, with a short sword, and shield, and I'm sure a lot of people were just like, "What the fuck is this? Like, this is boring as shit." But I was super interested because I love medieval combat, and they were actually fighting each other. They were just sparring, you know, kind of like fencing. And then they let people. They had a bunch of wooden swords and stuff, and they let people like come up and try to learn some maneuvers and stuff like that. By that time, I was just like, I just want to play Dark Souls 3. So, that wraps up. They lead us into a, through a set of double doors. And there's like 40 PCs set up with Dark Souls 3. We did play the PC version. And they sat us down. And Dark Souls 3 happens. It was PCs with Xbox One controllers. I had never used the Xbox One controller, and I thought it was mostly okay, except that the bumpers sucked ass. These bumpers here. It's like it's not an even press all the way through on the bumpers. If you press it close to where the bumper starts, it's like resistant to being pressed. So a lot of times I would go to press it and it wouldn't do its thing. It wouldn't. So I had to get used to pressing the outside of the bumpers in order to press it down. It was annoying. Anyways, so I sat down on one computer next to Man vs. Game and Barneasy Jones here, and my game wasn't working. So then they moved me across the room next to some journalist guys, and then I could play. So the demo starts out. You can choose between 2 different classes. Now, like I said, remember, I'm not a details guy. I did not have pen and paper. I wasn't like, gotta write down all this stuff. So if you want super detailed information like that, guys like Terra Mantis, Dave Control Live, they probably already released their YouTube videos talking about, you know, very specific things like that. Those details I'm less interested in. Or IGN, they probably have some articles on that now too. There was like a warrior class, which started with a heater shield type thing and a longsword. And then there was another class that started with like kind of a leather shield and a battle axe. Not battle axe. It looked more like a hand axe because it was a one-sided axe. Oh my goodness, Miss Williams! Hey, Miss Williams, how's it going? Miss Williams is watching the stream. That's so legendary status. Well, up. I had to, Oh, I put the sub only mode on. Sorry. Chat got wrecked. All right, let's try this. Slow 10. There you go. There's a slow mode. Slow mode would work. So we're on 10-minute slow mode. Sorry, Freedom. I had to do that to counteract the boss. The bots! Okay. So we had like this bandit type hunter-ish class with an axe and leather shield type thing. And then the warrior. Of course I chose the warrior. And he was in what was kind of looked like an elite knight armor set. I'm going to bring you back to here now. Oh, my computer just started to go to sleep. Seizures. Let's see. First, let's go through some of this artwork here. While we can. So this is the artwork that I have available to me. I'm going to show you guys this stuff before I necessarily talk about it. Midnight Crew Games, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the Wolfpack. Here, you can even... Ah, shit! Didn't mean to do that. There you go. I was too much in the way there. Now, I don't actually think I saw this type of enemy. This thing's creepy. It did look like a Lois Knight, right? It looked like a Lois Knight. Mixed with Artorias, maybe. This is some sort of swamp dweller. Okay, so this is basically what my main character looked like. That you know, elite knight, kind of fluted armor warriors that, as you expect. This is a concept of an area that we played in the demo. I'll go into detail. This is this looks like concept from the trailer that we've seen, and this part wasn't in the actual demo, and this is, I think, directly pulled from the trailer. There's like a, you know, undead knight dude. I did experience these guys in the demo. They're pretty tough. They're like the Black Knights of Dark Souls 3, from what I experienced. Did not come across these in the demo, but they are in the trailer, you know, kind of the hags. This was the main boss, in quotes, of the demo that we played. The Dancer of the Frigid Wastes is her name. And then this is kind of like an undead version of that hunter character that you could choose, except he's got dual hand axes. But that's kind of the axe that you start with in the armor. And then we're back here. We're back to this stuff. Kaboosh. So,
Thank you.
We'll run you through the artwork for now, and then we'll just put it all on slideshow until, like, while I talk about things. So this is actual gameplay screenshots. This is a boss that I did not come across, but was in the demo. I don't actually know what the boss's name was, but this boss had its own status effect. When you got near it, once you completed the bar, it said frostbite, and we weren't too sure about what it actually did. Here's the main boss of the demo. This is the Dancer of the Frigid Wastes, and I'll kind of go into a description as we go there. As we get there, this is the Dancer of the Frigid Wastes spawning cinematic. It kind of spawns in like the one Reborn. It like poops in from a clump in the top. This is some of that battle arts action, like that I may have talked about before. It's kind of like a stance thing that you can do. This was not in the demo, but the short bow and long bow, the difference between the two is huge now. It looks like he's using dual scimitars here, which is actually a weapon that you pick up. And then here's, I don't know, they're just making it look cool here. This is basically what the hollows look like in this game, though. These are the changes that they've made. And then this was not in the demo, but, you know, it looks very much like Shulva, kind of a Shulva DLC exploration type area. Now, this is the hunter character that, once we get through these screenshots, I'll explain some stuff. There's the Frost Beast again. And I'll show you, we'll go through these while I talk about certain things. So, one of the big changes, one of the things that you'll notice when you hop into Dark Souls 3 is that there are different types of shields now. Sure, we had different types of shields before. What are you talking about? If you have, for example, I got on my warrior character, and you start with the like the heavy metal heater shield type shield. On the heater shield, where you have your weapon selection, your item selection, it's got a little icon, and particularly on the heater shield, there's a sword icon. Now, what that means is, instead of parrying, when you hit L2, you enter your battle arts stance. So you got your one-hander and your shield here. Uh-oh. And the battle arts is different for different weapons. Yes. But so if this shield that I had equipped had a sword icon on it, instead of parrying, you actually two-hand the weapon while you hold. It's a toggle. So if you let go of L2, it goes back to one-handed mode. You go into sword art stance, which you just hold the sword like this, and you can walk around slowly. Now, if you initiate an R1 or an R2 from here, it does a special attack. No, I mean battle arts, because it's not necessarily with swords. You can do this with axes as well. Battle arts is the term that they were using. So I'm not going to demonstrate the actual attacks, but think some of the stronger R2 attacks from maybe Dark Souls 1. So, for example, you did get a great sword. Like a great sword had like a scoop. It had like a scoop. Actually, it had a very powerful like charge forward and scoop attack. And they make a good point of putting like a swooshy effect whenever you're doing the sword art stuff, so that you know it's like more powerful. Now, the counter to that is some shields, smaller shields, would have a little wooden shield icon, and those you can parry with. So don't worry. You can still parry with shields. It's just that some you cannot with. I'm kind of torn between it because, I mean, as a speedrunner, it doesn't matter to me. You can get into sword arts even without that special shield. All you have to do is two-hand the weapon, and then you hold L2, and then you're in your sword arts or your battle arts stance. Excuse me. And the battle arts is based on your main hand weapon. Has nothing to do with the shield. The shield is just whether or not you parry or you do the battle arts instead. Now, the hunter character had an axe, and when you activate the battle arts with the axe, he like stomps the ground and does an AoE, kind of like Beast Roar from Bloodborne, if you're familiar with that. And it buffs the weapon with a little bit of fire temporarily. So not all the weapons are necessarily going to have attacks as their battle arts. We'll see. We'll see. There could be a lot of variety of stuff. So, and yeah, the Beast Roar like kind of AoE does like staggers enemies around you. They showed the AoE on the trailer. There's also a screenshot here. Yeah, right here. So this is the guy. Yeah. And you can see it's kind of like radiating out an effect. Let me put this on. Let me put all of these, in fact, in here. That way we can just do a slideshow of all of this stuff. How do I... Where's... Oh yeah, it's on slow. Okay, cool. Oh, can I just pause and then just do this? Yeah. Okay. The main thing is fire, like Bloodborne and Blood. I wouldn't necessarily say that. Okay, so moving on. That's the first thing when you hop in the game. You experience this. This is that shield. It's more of like the Caduceus shield or the Night Shield or something like that, than a heater shield. But there you go. So from the starting spot, you walk down a set of stairs, and there's a bonfire. And you're like, oh, okay, cool, bonfire. Set at the bonfire. That bonfire in particular was giving us 10 Estus flasks. Not sure if that's the default or if it was kindled. There was no equipment screen, no item screen. We could not go into any of that. The only thing we could access was options. Which motherfucking L3 jumping is back. L3 jump is back on the attack with the option to toggle back to circle jump. And I cannot be happier. I could not be happier. So thank you, Miyazaki, for bringing that back over from Dark Souls 2, because I'm happy. That was one of my biggest pet peeves with Bloodborne, was all the accidental jumping and all that stuff. There's the battle arts in action. So yeah. Let's see, a little bit more discussion of just like standard attack mechanics. We don't believe that there was any sort of pressing or holding triangle to do power stance or to two-hand your offhand weapon or anything like that. It seems like that's gone. It's more like Dark Souls 1 in the sense. What else is there? If you L1 with a two-handed sword, it's just a block. They got R1, R2s. They got combos, as you would expect. There's not really any transform type comboing there or anything like that. But, you know, like I said, this is an early demo, so things might change. Who knows? They're constantly changing stuff. Thank you for the resub trophies, Hunter. Resub hype. Now, one interesting point that we were kind of discussing after the demo, myself and other streamer guys, the way they do two-handing or dual-wielding weapons is you will actually, Caliga, thank you for 8 months resub. The way you do the dual wielding weapons is you actually pick up a weapon, single weapon, that is called, it was called, I don't remember the exact name, dual something scimitars. But the point that I was trying to make is that the dual wield aspect is encompassed in one weapon item. So, like I said, we couldn't go into our equip screen, but what happened was whenever we picked up a weapon, it would auto-equip. Legion scimitars, that's them, yeah. Legion scimitars. You guys know more than I do about the details, so I'm not worried about having to explain it. Yes, the Legion scimitars. So, like, when you picked them up, it would just auto-equip the weapon. Not auto-equip, but put it on our D-pad. And you could toggle to one-handed. You could toggle into offhand sword. But if you just, hit D-pad so that you had both swords equipped, then you could use L1 and L2 as your normal Dark Souls 2 dual wieldy stuff. And the L2 was very much like a spin circle thing. This was all described with the E3 demo once we looked at that, so I don't think it's necessarily worth going over that stuff again. We do have dual scimitars, yes. Also, don't worry, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of weapons in the game, so let's see. Throughout the demo, pretty much all the items that we picked up were either fire bombs or throwing knives or green blossom. Or souls. It was evident that they replaced a lot of stuff for the demo or just hadn't placed it. I'm pretty sure they just took out stuff like that they didn't want to show off yet. I did test fist damage. Fists on my knight character, R1s were doing 15 damage. And riposts were about 52 damage or so. And you can do an R2 charge up punch attack. So, fists viable. Fists viable. I could not figure out any way to equip a shield to do damage, so without the equipment screen, it's kind of hard to do so. Like I said, we did not have access to that. Additionally, when we sat at bonfires, the only option was to leave. So there's no information about any of that. All the information that we have based on the demo gameplay is pretty much single player related. So I'm not going to be able to answer any multiplayer questions really. So there's that. Now let me just continue with my progression through the demo, and I'll remember things as we go. If you guys saw the trailer yesterday, I'm sure you did. Let's see. There's a dragon. Dark Souls 3 gameplay trailer. Analysis. There you go. Sure.
Some people think body hair isn't cool.
Body hair is really cool. I have body hair. It's cool. Don't worry about it. This was yesterday, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is the area that we played right here. This is it was very much an Anor Londo, very bright, almost kind of like a. So I wouldn't say that it was like daytime ad block. No. It's like a faded sun, right? It's almost like permanent sunset. Because I remember when they were doing the E3 demonstration, they were trying to express the fact that Dark Souls 3 is about kind of like the end of an era, and everything, like the sun is faded, and it's very much like, I don't know, the sun's setting on everything. Nothing super bright in that sense. Put it in 1080. There's no tinted. Oh, right here. This is what I was trying to pull up. You walk down from the bonfire. There's actually 3 paths from the bonfire. One way goes up, and there was like an item to loot. It goes up the stairs, and then there was nothing beyond that. Then there were 2 ways down. One way, which was like the intended way for now, goes down past this dragon, and this dragon is just like, as you can see, it's like ash. This is ash coming off of it, like as if it was an ash dragon. Dragon body hair. Is in the demo as well. Anyways, you go past that dragon, and you meet your first enemies. There's some undead hollows who are just kind of where did they do this? Lots of places. Like when you first go down to New Londo Ruins, and there's hollows there, just kind of like fetus positioning or like praying to something. There's these undead enemies that are just kind of like ignoring you and like looking up at these dead trees and symbols and stuff like that. Painted World, yeah, whatever. Anyways,
Isaac was cornered. His mother
Isaac.
The desire.
No. All right. Now there was this enemy that comes towards you. It patrols. Yeah, you can kill him absolutely. There's an undead guy dressed in more of like a longer garb that patrols towards you, and he's got a lantern. And if you don't bother him for a while, he rings his lantern and kind of yells, and then that aggroes all the hollows, and you're like, oh fuck! And the hollows jump all over you, and blah 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 blah. But you could very easily just sprint at him and fucking kill the lantern guy real quick, and no biggie. I did not have any options at Bonfire's Nightmare, only to leave. So no details on that yet. One interesting thing about the design of this stage, this music is loud, I'm sorry. One interesting thing about the design of the stage is in Anor Londo, you'll be like outside for a long time, then you'll go inside for a long time, then you're back outside for like a while longer, so you get back inside, and then you're just like inside for the rest of it. This is very much like in and out, and in and out, and in and out. And like, so almost by room, it's like you get like a room or 2 outside, and then you go inside, and then there might be like some, you know, you get a room's worth of experience, and then you go back outside. There's just a lot of intertwining there. And you can see a lot of stuff from outside. You're like, oh, there's stuff over there. Miyazaki made a point to say, you can go everywhere that you see. So it's like, a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. So, the old in and out. I'm pups the volume. I will tweak it a little bit more if Tebow's Skype message would get out of the way. In any case, I'm not going to fully remember all the details of going through areas, but I have a pretty good idea for it. At some point, you enter this wooden inside, like the ground is all wooden, and there's like a hollow kind of like tucked behind a table here, and he'll ambush you. They have a hollow enemy that's very fast, and he's got like a dagger, and he'll run at you. Kind of like the Bloodborne enemies that are like, you know, super on fucking speed, but not that fast. Not that fast. They just kind of run faster, and they're meant to be like kind of ambushy enemies. There's a couple of those in there. Oh, we also loot fire bombs. Plenty. Plenty of fire bombs. And they're just like exactly like Dark Souls 1 fire bombs or Dark Souls 2 fire bombs. No, nothing special there. You explore this area a bit. You can drop down. There's 3 levels to this wooden platform stuff. And there's some like exploding barrels that you can throw fire bombs at, and then, you know, kill enemies with the environment, blah 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 blah. Let's see if I can pull up any of the standard hollows. Yeah, this is basically what the undead. These are what the ones that were praying and stuff look like. Yeah, these standard enemies. These bitches with the giant great axes, they have like tons of poise, and they wreck your shit pretty hard. They don't. They would kill you in about 3 hits if you let them. Nothing in the demo was incredibly lethal besides bosses. I could totally see them tweaking the damage up a little bit. Though I did eventually run out of Estus, so I mean that's saying something. Does poise work like Dark Souls 1? So there's interesting things. There's definitely hyper armor on some of your attacks, and enemy attacks, of course. There was like 2 points where I definitely poised through something. A lot of the time I wasn't poising, but they hit me at some point, and like I went to heal or just to like roll, and I wasn't knocked back at all. So yeah, it seems like there's ultimately poise. I know gameplay is out, Alchemist. I'm talking about my gameplay, so yeah. Anyways, what's the animation when you drink when you're out of Estus? I mean, I'm pretty sure it was the same. I don't think I actually tried drinking when I was out of Estus, but it's what you would expect probably. So they actually had a decent variety of enemies. You could see how their hollows would upgrade as you go. There are dogs. I don't think... Do they have any screenshots of the dogs? I don't think I have screenshots of the dogs. The dogs are what you would expect. You know, very fast, very jumpy, annoying. There were no life gems, only Estus that we saw. At one point, you come out and there is... As you're heading forward, you come out of this doorway, there is a staircase up, or there's a path alongside the staircase that stays on the ground. Going up the staircase, there is a dragon that flies in. Miyazaki loves dragons in the first floor, on the first levels. He actually said that, and we know it's to be true with Hellkite and Boletaria, you know, those dragons. Well, there's more dragons in the first stage. Well, at least in the demo stage. Who knows if it's the first one. And the dragon starts breathing fire, either at the stairs, or if you're on the bottom part, he breathes fire down at the lower area. And what they show off here is, if you go in the lower area, there's a bunch of hollows that come at you, and you're like, oh shit, well, I'm going to backtrack and go up the stairs. Then the dragon lands, breathes fire, and, you know, you can kill the hollows with the fire. And you're supposed to be like, oh, I'm smart. I figured that out. I can use a dragon to kill the hollows. So actually, I saw this during the Dark Souls, the E3 demo. I didn't even go up top. I didn't even go where the dragon was. I was like, nah, I'm just going to fucking go to the bottom. So I just took on all the hollows by myself. The dragon never showed up. If you don't go up there, the dragon doesn't show up. So I just took out all the hollows. One thing, during this, I was practicing my parrying. I was doing my backstabs, stuff like that. There's a smoothness with the backstabs. I don't want to say it's a negative thing, but it's not really a positive thing in my experience either. You would slide in behind an enemy to get ready to backstab, and your character would almost like start an attack animation and then like enter the backstab animation. It's not like Dark Souls 1 where you're like backstabbing from over here and it pops your character behind them. It doesn't do that. And I would say in general, I had a little bit harder of a time than Dark Souls 1 backstabbing enemies, finding their backs. But I could still do it pretty regularly, and it was, you know, it's good damage. The parries, when I parried the dude, the sounds and everything were Dark Souls 1. The animation of the guy being parried reminded me of Demon Souls. But it might just depend on what you parry and stuff like that. Like, they kind of go, woo. You know, in Demon Souls, they're just like, really fast. It's definitely not Dark Souls 2, where they're like... I don't know how to explain it. But everything else about the parrying, the actual riposte, the sounds, the feel of it, that all felt Dark Souls 1. But it was just that one animation that caught me. Like, the dude's just like, and you're like, oh, that's kind of Demon Soulsy. Anyways, so I cleared out this bottom area of hollows. That is where you pick up the Great Sword, which is just called Great Sword. The moveset of the Great Sword was basically the Zweihander from Dark Souls 1. If you're one-handing it and you got a shield, you kind of do this sideways with the R1s. The R2? Fuck. I don't actually remember what the R2 was. Whether it was a stab or if it was a... I don't think it was a Zweihand or overhand, though. I surprisingly did not use the Greatsword as much as the Longsword. I stuck to my Longsword. Just because when I'm learning an area... When I was learning that area in particular, I wanted a faster weapon. Because it was easier to get punished if you're doing these slow things. Anyways, I know I know the overhand was his way smash. I'm not sure that's what the Greatsword was. Now Miyazaki, in response to 30 or 60 FPS, this was 30. Miyazaki said that it was going to be 30. Who knows what PC will be when it launches? Maybe they'll move it to 60. I don't know. But it definitely was not 60 to start with. Okay, so pick up the Greatsword, and we move up some stairs into this kind of longer courtyard area, and this badass knight dude runs out from one of the doorways. These are basically the Black Knights of Dark Souls 3. They look like super beefy, tall, elite knight armor guys. And they got a big shield. They got a big-ass kite shield. And this one in particular had a sword. But they also had a variant that had a spear. So yeah, Black Knight. Think Black Knight or Red Eye Knight from Demon Souls. Similar thing. Now, these guys were pretty tough. I parried these guys a couple times, and I was like, no, these guys are cake. But they can go into their battle arts, two-hand their weapon. They have a shit ton of poise, and holy fuck, do they have range with the battle art stuff. Like, you could be across the room, and they're just like, Hia! They charge at you and do like a swoop. Kind of a scoop sweep, and I think it's brutal. It's brutal. Bible thump over the FPS. No, it was a fantastic experience. Don't worry, DS3 fix. I don't know, whatever. The knights were formidable opponent. Formidable opponents. Let's see if there's any of those on here. They weren't Lois Knights. That kind of looks like a Lois Knight, if you ask me. This is all the stuff, so... They kind of look like this, except they have their heads, their helms down. And their armor is definitely nicer looking. It's not as ragged. Formidable. We did not fight those. That is the boss. Oh, there you go. There he is, right there. That's a spear version. That's a spear version of those knights. So they're pretty tall, and you know, in general, you see these guys run out and you're like, I don't want to fight that thing. You can backstab them, you can parry them. They go down with 2 parries pretty easily. Continuing on, there was another indoor section with wooden platforms. You could drop down. Oh, I remember this. I remember what it was. I talked about a wooden platform section before. I was confusing it with this section that was coming up. The first one, you would take a ladder down, and there would be a grave against the wall, and it's all lit up. And it says, it's an epitaph. And you interact with the epitaph, and it gives you a lore bit. And it'd say something in the lore. I didn't write these down. Like I said, check out the the articles on IGN or the YouTubers Terramantis or Dave Control Live. I'm sure they have these written down. But there were epitaphs that had actual statements about the lore and stuff like that. And you would interact with it. It didn't act as like a checkpoint or anything. It just kind of like, once you interacted with it once, then you could just click A on it and it would show up. You wouldn't do an animation or anything. And you could just get the lore again. But there were like, the Dark Souls vague lore statements that you would expect. Okay. Fast forward back to the second area of wooden platforms, which is where there's hollows that ambush you. There's drop downs, a couple floors with the explodable barrels that you throw fire bombs at. If you went all the way down, you could like go through this hallway into this open room where you see a bunch of like hollows hanging out. And you walk in and they have this sneaky lantern guy hiding right as you enter to the right in the corner. So you're supposed to like walk in and be like, what's going on in here? And then he's like, ding, 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 ding. And you're like, what? And then there's a fucking bunch of hollows on you. So that was like a little ambush that they had set up. At one point, was it from the night? It might be from the night. Okay. Backtracking further, from the night that first runs out, the opposite the door that he comes out, I believe there's stairs up and a second bonfire. Yay, bonfire too. Nothing special really about that though. Just another checkpoint. Restore your Estus, makes you happy. All that jazz. From that second bonfire, you can run past the night dude, go into the wooden place. There is a shortcut that leads back to the first bonfire eventually. But that's a bit further on. Continuing on, we get to... Oh, yeah. Okay. So you start running on the rooftops right after this wooden platform area. And you see a bunch of these hollow guys here. And they're kind of like, hanging out, not being aggressive. They're doing their thing. And you walk up and you start attacking one or two of them. And then one of the dudes, I said this before in the E3 talks, but one of the hollows, like, morphs into this giant, like, abyss, for lack of better comparison, like, Manus hand. And it's like, the body is, like, mostly there, but there's this giant fucking abyss hand coming out. And it swirls up and kills the rest of the hollow dudes. And then you have this Manus hand to deal with. But every time I experienced that, I experienced it twice, I was like, fuck that. I just stood back and chunked firebombs at it. It took like 3 firebombs to kill. And I was like, get out of here. And we killed it. That's the only enemy like that we see in there. But once I cleared out this rooftop, as you see here, you can kind of see that there's like a drop here, and there's a courtyard down there. And you can look down and you see the courtyard, and it's this. So imagine like you're up here or something, up on the rooftops, and you look down and you see this fountain with a statue, And there's a lot of armor sets that are like shaped like people, and they're crumpled up against the wall, or they're like, laid out, but they're actually hollow. They're empty, so you can roll through these husks of warriors, and it just like kind of. I thought that eventually one of them was going to stand up and fucking attack me, but all of the ones that I saw, I rolled through them, and it dismantles their sets or whatever. In any case, look how much like this character looks like Bloodborne. This looks very Bloodborne. But when you got the same concept artists and stuff, it's going to be kind of hard to not. In any case, you do some drops, make your way down to this area, and there's a big fatty. There's a fatty, like, imagine the executioners from Bloodborne. They've got now, I think I'm going to confuse their appearances a bit too much, but as a huge guy, and he's got a massive, like, poleaxe halberd. He'll do spin to wins and stuff. He's got a lot of health. You can backstab him. I had trouble backstabbing him, but I think it's just because, like, his animation would twist him, and his back would be here, but I'd be, like, trying to stab where his visual back is. You got to learn those things in Dark Souls. Anyways. One thing that was interesting is he did use a spell. It must have been when he was like less than half health, because some people said they didn't notice this at all, but he shot like this geyser almost from the ground. It just went psh, a column of white magic liquidy stuff. I don't think it was liquid. It was like, spell energy. But I was not in it. I imagine it was like basically a mini firestorm. Mini firestorm, except it was white. But it did not hit me. Took care of that guy. Now, at this point, I've been playing through slowly, playing it smart, carefully. I get to this point, and 2 tables of computers, the power just goes out. And I was like, well, fuck. Because not only were the computers not booting up, but they didn't have like a way to jump back in and continue playing. So I couldn't, I was so proud because I hadn't died yet, and I was like, yeah, and then it goes out, and I was like, fuck! So, everybody else is just kind of sitting there waiting, and I'm like, well, maybe they fixed that computer that I was at the first time that wasn't working. So I go over there, it was the one next to Man vs. Game and, Barneasy Jones. And it's working. It was working there. So I get back on the warrior character, kind of do some speedrunny tactics this time. I die a lot more because I'm going fast, and I'm unfamiliar with it. But eventually, I make it back here. And you go through like a doorway like this, and it leads out into this big, think of a Y shape. This is where I'm coming from. It leads downstairs, and there's also stairs that come down from this way, but then there's this big straight path, which is actually stairs up, and then straight, big long straight path. On this straight path, there's 2 of those big knights. Where is he? These guys. 2 of these guys. One guy has a spear, one guy has a sword. The spear guy is very much... This is very Demon Soulsy. If you remember the Red Eye Knights with the spears from Demon Souls, they even have that charge, that charge spear attack. And then the sword guy was just like the other one that I fought. He can go into his battle arts. He can two-hand and fuck you up. Or he can kind of turtle with his shield. There in the new trailer? Maybe. Maybe. Looks like Drake Blood armor. Yeah, I mean, it looks like that. There's a lot of similar armor types. Anyways. Trying to think of any specific... The spear guy, it was pretty easy to kind of circle around him and just backstab. So it's very much Souls, you know, once you know how the hitboxes work and stuff, you can kind of just like, I got my shield up, oh, he attacked, oh, I go for a backstab, you're dead. It's still like that. Do you keep facing the enemy when rolling, like in Dark Souls 1? Yes. I believe so, yes. I seem to remember that. We're getting to the boss stuff, don't worry, we're almost there. So, take out these two knights, back up one of the other staircases. There is a shortcut back to the first bonfire. So I take it upon myself to run and go sit at the first bonfire, restore my Estus, head back down here, clear out these knights again. I've got like 8 Estus or so. And there's a giant set of double doors. They open up, and oh, there's a lantern enemy like I was talking about. This might be that ambush room that I was mentioning where he's hiding behind the corner or something. Anyways, open the double doors. You go inside this big cathedral. It's got these big pillars on the outside, and then up ahead there's what looks like kind of like a, not a throne, but there's a big seat, and there's a shiny item on there. We'll be doing Q&A after this. Don't worry, guys. And as soon as you touch the item, we get a cutscene, cinematic. The doors close. And this guy, this is the Dancer of the Frigid Wastes. I kind of assume that it's female. I don't know. It's hard. It's a thing. It's a thing. Whatever. I will refer to it as it. Gender neutral for now. This thing, so your character notices something dripping on the ground, and he turns around, and the camera pans up, of course, and there's like a ball, a cluster of, kind of like that Manus Abyss stuff, and this Dancer of the Frigid Waste kind of like gets birthed out of it. Think the one reborn from Bloodborne, and just goes and gets pooped out, and you're like, what the fuck? And it's this thing. It is the Dancer of the Frigid Waste. I believe they have footage of it in the gameplay trailer. Let's see here. We'll go through this. This was not. No, this wasn't in the demo. Not in the demo. They did not have any of this functionality. It's been rumored that there's some way to create a bonfire by like stabbing a dude or sacrificing a person. That was not in the demo, so we don't know. I don't have any details on that. But they're showing it off, so evidently it's going to be some sort of mechanic. Didn't fight these. There's the big sword guys, and this looks actually right outside the boss area. Nope. Oh. Yeah, there's the boss doors right there. There's the double doors. You've got this long courtyard hallway. You fight 2 of these knight guys, and then it's the boss. Oh, so there's a roll. Let's see. Did he face away? Oh no, he didn't. He didn't roll away like I thought he did. He just rolled to the side. So there's looks like a confirmation of the Zweihander overhand attack with the R2 maybe, or rolling attack, one of the 2. Oh, the graphics are great. It looks like Bloodborne engine, but Dark Souls setting. So you know, medieval, all that. There are fog gates, not for the boss when you first enter, of course, but after you die and go back, yes. This was not in the demo. I don't know what the fuck that is. There's the sword art, battle arts of the axe, right there. I don't know what the fuck that is. It was not Claymore, it was Greatsword. So here's the battle arts of the axe. Poof! Staggers the dude. And then I guess you can't see it, but it does buff your weapon for a short period of time. Here's those wooden platform areas like I was talking about. And this looks like that room where you get ambushed. That I was mentioning with the lantern guy hiding around the corner. Yeah, anyways. Imalols, thank you for the resub. Appreciate it. Now what they're showing off, we didn't get to play with this in the demo. There was no short bow. But the short bow is so fucking agile from what we saw in E3. Oh my god, look at this. You can, yes, you can do all this stuff. Very quick shots. You just like boom, boom, swapping, and then backstabs. Very cool. I didn't use the dual scimitars too much, but here's some of that. Swoop, swoop, swoop. You do get some scimitar action. This is the last giant. No, just kidding. I don't know what the fuck that is. That wasn't in the demo. But it looks cool. This was an optional boss that I did not find. It was apparently, there was a key somewhere and a locked door. I found the locked door, but not the key. And we didn't get a whole lot of time to play. We got like an hour. And considering the fact that my computer turned off at some point and I had to redo stuff, that wasn't a lot of time. But as I mentioned before, this boss had a mechanic from what I was told. As you get close to it, it gives off like an aura and you get a status bar ticking up. And when it maxed out, it would say Frostbite. I don't know what Frostbite did. The guy said that he didn't really notice, so maybe it's not fully implemented, but it's evident that there's a new mechanic in that sense. Boosh. But I did not fight this guy, and he looks like a beast. There's the spawn in. There's the pooping out of the dancer of the frigid wastes. This movement, this thing moves. I mean, I've talked about it before, but it moves fucking weird. It's like graceful, but also very slow, and you'd be like, when you're trying to anticipate where the attack is coming from, it could be hard. Baconade! Thank you for the sub, Baconade. Welcome to the wolf pack. Close a character? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that makes sense. It's a frost thing, so, but who knows? I'm not gonna make assumptions. Baconade, thank you for your sub, buddy. Swoosh. This is a cool grab attack. I did not see that happen. That's fucking badass, though. There's the dragon. That's if you're up and you've aggroed it. Yada yada, and that's that. So, this boss had two phases that I would notice. A lot of it... Let me get a clearer picture here. Where's the dancer? The dancer of the frigid wastes. Where the fuck are you? There you are. Alright. Well, there we go. So, I did kill the dancer. So, I'll explain the boss in detail as I can, and also explain how my first attempt went on it. So the boss starts out, it's got this fire sword like that, and that's it. Like I said, it moves super gracefully, but it's really weird. It's like puppet-like almost, and it slides, and it's got a lot of like silky clothing that just gives it this glidey effect to it. It has... Trying to think of the attack moveset. It has a very obvious overhead. You can cycle around it. You can just kind of sidestep it. And a lot of this boss you could do sidestepping, get to its butt. But it did have some cool, unique attacks to get you off of its side or its butt. It would do this attack where it has the sword here. And if I'm the boss and I'm facing this way, it would like jab the sword into the ground and then drag it like that if you were behind it or on its side to knock you off of his side, and it would knock you up into the air and do significant damage. as it attacked, as you can see, the ground's on fire here. It did, it would light the pillars in the room on fire, though the fire did not seem to hurt me at all. It's possible that it did, but I just didn't notice it. Maybe I generally avoided it, but I didn't recall actually like moving through the fire and it burning me. So there was that. The first phase of it was pretty easy to handle, and I didn't really burn too many Estus there. I did show the shield. Shield's right here. Right. Yeah. Dark Souls at 3. Shield. Parry. Anyways. So like I said, first phase was pretty manageable. It wasn't too bad. At some point, it shoves its sword into the ground to go into phase 2. And it pulls out a second sword, which is like ash covered. Serb89. Thank you for the sub. Welcome to the Wolfpack, Serb. It busts out this ash sword, and then it's dual wielding. During this phase, it would do this. Yeah, we're doing Q&A afterwards. It would do this annoying ass constant. I can't do it with this this mic attached. Enable Duke, 21 months. Holy shit! Thank you for that resub, Enable Duke. It would put like the swords kind of together and do whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. It would do a whirlwind thing, and it would do that whirlwind like 10 times. So if you were anywhere near it, you would have to like exhaust your entire stamina bar rolling away, and that still might not be enough. And then there's an obvious point where it stops doing that and kind of does an attack to finish the swooping. It had a lot of parts in the fight where it wouldn't be aggressive, and it would just be kind of like walking. And you could just walk up and be like, R1 once or twice. But then it would just be like, fuck, well, I'm going to do something to you now. It also did this attack where it would shove the ash sword into the ground and like kind of create an ash shockwave. And it would do a pretty big AoE. At least half the size of this room, which was a big room. So you need to get really far away, and it would pulsate out like ash, and it would go bzz, bzz, and it was really far distance. So that one got me a few times. What else did it do? One thing that took me off guard, that a lot of, you would expect to act this way. It would do this if you were far enough away. It would do a leap attack with both, and I would dodge it, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go attack you. But after the leap attack, it would also have like a slice afterwards. So I had to learn that the leap attack was not safe. You would have to wait for the attack, the jump attack, wait for the follow-up, and then you would be good to do some attack. So it's got that thing, you got to learn how the bosses move and all that. So my first attempt on it, I get to second phase. I have like 6 Estus left. I'm like, oh, no problem. And he starts hitting me a lot in phase 2. We get down to, I'm out of Estus. Boss is at like 10% health. And I have like 50% health. And the boss kills me. I don't remember what move got me. But I died. I died my first attempt. It is true. But I did have the boss almost dead. It was almost dead. So, I speedrun back. No, the power doesn't go out. I speedrun back. Get to him again. We have the same problem where I get into the second phase, and I have like 9 Estus this time, and I get fucking... all my Estus is gone. I have like 20% health this time, and he's got like 10% health. And I'm just chucking all of my fire bombs and throwing knives. I'm like, nope, we're just gonna stay at range and do that. And I do manage to take him down that time, with fire bombs, and I got a little cheesy there. I had to play it safe. There was only SS flasks. The thing is, during that attempt, while I was fighting him, there was like an uproar of like applause from over here. So I think somebody over here beat the boss, maybe for the first time. But my computer also turned itself off midway through my first playthrough, so whatever. No, I didn't beat the boss my first try. But I do beat it this time. It goes, congratulations on beating the boss. You completed the demo. It fades to black and goes back to the main menu screen. And I was like, well, okay. So, after that completion of the demo, I get on the other character, the Axe character. I keep calling it Hunter. I feel like it was like Hunter of... It had some name for it. It was Hunter or Bandit. Not Bandit. It just reminds me of the Bandit. This is in-game, absolutely. Oopsies. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Yeah, these are in-game screenshots here. This is... That is... That is... That is... That is... So is that. And that. And so I get on the Hunter-ish character and speed run through the demo and kill the boss a second time. I kill him first try this time. Just to like experience the second character. The axe was pretty decent. I just used that and one-handed it for the most part. And basically right as I kill the boss the second time, they're calling for time, and that's the end of our gameplay. Actually, I forgot that after I beat the boss the first time, of course, like a couple of the guys, Jay and a couple of the Namco, Bandai Namco guys are watching me fight it and stuff. They're just wandering around the whole time. They lead me outside the room to do an interview thing, which again, I didn't have a voice, so I don't know if they'll use it, but I do an interview talking about my experience, blah, 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 blah. There was no magic in the demo. There was no using magic. Sad face. Then I went back inside, beat it the second time, and they handed us our shields while we were finishing up the demo, and got on a bus, headed back to the hotel. Spent the night, headed back to San Fran the next day, and just hung out with everybody, got some lunch and all that, and then headed back to the airport and made our way out of here. So that was a lot of talking. That was an hour and 20 minutes of describing all this stuff. I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then I'm going to take your questions. I'll leave the slideshow playing so you can observe the pretty screenshots. The Lifeline curse? Oh, absolutely. I'm still recovering from Lifeline. Anyways, I'll be right back, and then I'll do his best to answer your questions. Probably won't be able to answer most of them, but, not because I have to withhold the information, but just because I don't fucking know. So, I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. Take some water here. Let's talk. What do you got? Do they sell this shirt? No, I don't believe so. This is a Dark Souls 3 shirt. I got this at E3. I don't know. They might sell it at some point. Who knows? But for now, I don't know. Did I watch the IGN 16-minute gameplay? No. Is it the demo? It's probably the demo we played. Unless it's different. Emotes. There are definitely gestures. There's Praise the Sun. Praise the Sun was in the first slot. How/where do you level up? There was no ability to level up in the demo, so I don't know. How does hollowing work? There was nothing that happened when you died. So there was no like half health or reduced health on death, at least in the demo. How much HP do you lose if you die? You don't. Does armor get bloody like Bloodborne? Yes. Yes, it does. I noticed this at E3, during E3. And, yeah, absolutely, that happens. What can you tell us about humanity, hollowing, or any world tendency? No details on that yet. If they're doing anything like that, they're holding off on it, I guess, or they're waiting until the end. Friendly fire. Yes, absolutely. You can use the dragon to kill the other enemies. As far as just like little hollow against little hollow, no, I don't think so. You think there will be PvE or PvP groups? I don't know what you mean by groups. If you mean covenants, I have no idea. Can you fist parry? I don't know. I would imagine so, but I don't know. Did not try it. Was as bloody as Bloodborne? It was pretty bloody. Definitely bloodier than Dark Souls, but not as bloody as Bloodborne. Is Ragdoll back? Yes. Green or fleshy hollows? Both? No, they were more fleshy colored. Kind of grayish. Kind of more ash colored. Can you choose who you want to party with on co-op in Dark Souls 3? Did not do anything multiplayer related, so I don't know. Have you found an NPC? No. There was no interactable NPCs. But there were a couple, like a spot or two in the area where it would make sense that an NPC would be. What is the Estus system like? I was getting 10 Estus at a bonfire. The heals were Dark Souls 1, so almost instant. And like I said, I got 10 Estus at each bonfire, but that might be basic or because they were kindled, something like that. How big was the health of the boss? More like Bloodborne or Dark Souls? I would say like Dark Souls. We had unupgraded weapons, so it's possible that, you know, with upgraded weapons, they would go down much easier. I didn't see any life gems in the game. Fast-paced or slow-paced combat? A bit faster. Not Bloodborne's speed, but I would say a bit faster. Especially with the changes to like the bows and stuff, like they're trying to make it a bit faster there. No transforming weapons. We couldn't see stats at all. There was no equipment, no item UI, no stats UI. I didn't find any hidden walls. You know if there will be infinite enemy respawns? Hard to say. I did not die that much. I would expect it to be like Dark Souls 1 though. Infinite enemy respawns. How's rolling compared to Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne? It's very much like Dark Souls 1 in the animation, but I believe you can roll more than just straight forward and left to right. So more like 360-degree rolling. How would you quantify the difference in speed between... Okay, I pretty much answered that to the best of my ability. It's like a faster Dark Souls 1. Even though I had full heavy armor, I was not fat rolling or mid rolling. I was rolling pretty fast, so hard to say if they just changed that for the demo or what. Does your health get damaged when you die? No. Dying animations? Like for the character? Didn't really notice. It looked as you would expect, I guess. We did not have resins. Are there any new stats? Did not see stats at all. Controls feel like Dark Souls 1. Backstabbing, like I said, is a bit smooth and kind of interesting. It's very much Dark Souls 1, when you went to backstab, it would like lock you. It would teleport your character even right behind them and then do the backstab. And this was kind of like you would almost initiate an attack and then go into the backstab, but not like a full attack. How easy was the game? It was as hard as I would expect the Dark Souls to be. The iframes were Dark Souls 1, noticeably. What questions did they ask me during the interview? I had 2 interviews. They asked me about what I do on Twitch, how I got into Dark Souls, what I thought of Dark Souls 3 trailer, and what I thought of Dark Souls 3 gameplay after I played it, what I was most excited for. There was no pyromancy, there were no spells. Was there only that one set of armor? There was 2 sets of armor because you could choose either the knight class or this hunter type class. Not hunter in the Dark Souls 1 sense of the hunter. Kind of hard to explain. I guess more like bandit. More like a bandit class. Kick or guard break? Kick! Kicks are back. Was there a diverse range of visuals? It was one area. It was this area, in fact. It was like Anor Londo, basically. Locked on free sprinting like Dark Souls 2. Oh, I feel like I tried that, but I don't remember. I can't answer that with confidence. Are parries limited since L2s are limited for other equipment? Oh, that's a good point. One thing that I forgot to mention. Oh, actually, I have an email that I sent myself with information to talk about. So holding off the QA for just a second. Q&A for a second. In the top left, they have an icon with a number in it, and the number would start at like 20 or 30. And whenever you used a sword art, a battle art, like the holding up here and doing a special attack or the roar, you would actually decrement that number. So you have a limited amount per life, I think, of battle arts usage, so that you cannot just infinitely do the battle art stuff. It was, yeah, not spammable. So hard to say everything that detracted from that meter. One thing that I remember noticing that I may have noticed incorrectly, but when I got to a second bonfire, it did not restore my battle arts number, my counter. Dying definitely did, but I don't know if it was like a bug that it didn't restore it at a bonfire, or if you just legitimately need to kill yourself. I wouldn't worry about that detail yet, because I'm not 100% sure I saw it that way, and B, it might not work that way in general. Anyways, okay, let me pull up this email real quick just to make sure that. Let's see, battle arts, beast roar, optional boss with frostbite effect, epitaphs for lore, dancer of the frigid valley, giant fatty with poleaxe, shield types, no UI, no inventory UI. Jump seems shorter. Now I did say they put L3 to jump back in, which is awesome, but the jumping seemed a lot shorter than Dark Souls 1 or 2. There was one spot where I was jumping from a ledge to like a little rooftop, and I had to try it like 2 or 3 times because the jumping was not as far as I expected. Different enemies, tall 2-hand hollows, dogs, fatty, weird abyss, morph blob, scimitars, and then wait, 15 bare fist damage. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, no. All right, I told you guys. I explained to you guys everything that I had notes for. So, did the health bar look any different? Slightly, maybe. Not in any, significant capacity. Could you rest at the bonfires? Absolutely. There were no options on the menu when it popped up, though. What about weapon stability? Do you mean blocking with weapons? Because I didn't do that very much. Jump attack to normal. normal attack combo delay. From what I recall, it functions the same. If you do a jump attack, you're going to be like, ugh, and then you got to go back to your R1. So, I don't know. Now, jumping attack was it, one thing was the longsword. I believe it was the longsword. The running attack for the longsword would just initiate the jumping attack. So you would be sprinting and you would hit R1 and then he would do yeah, with the forward stab thing into a jump attack. That was with the longsword. I didn't get to try all the weapons as much as I would have liked to. But, you know, maybe those details will come out in the gameplay coming from Gamescom. How did stamina feel? It felt like it was about the same as Dark Souls 1, I would say. I didn't have anything like a Chloranthy Ring or a Grass Crest Shield. So by default, that base up a stamina regeneration and all that seemed like Dark Souls 1. Yes, there are charge attacks. There are charge attacks like Bloodborne, except it doesn't have like the ding whenever you fully charge up. You would just be like, yeah, and you would attack. What would I rate the demo out of 10? Well, as anything, I don't give anything a 10, pretty much. So I would say it was a 9. Did I like the boss music? When I was playing, I didn't get to hear much of the sound. A lot of people had Razer headphones. Razer. Made by Razer. But I did not. I was using the TV audio, and the room was loud, so I didn't get to hear a whole lot of it, honestly. Different parry with different weapons? Don't recall exactly. I mean, it's not like Bloodborne. So, yeah, actually, though, I did confirm from somebody else, I think Dreaded Cone said that when you parry and riposte with the greatsword, you do like the ka, kya, and the spin around. That parry riposte combo is back. Dark Souls 1 or 2 weapon durability. Did not see anything about durability. I don't even think I noticed like the Dark Souls 2 little durability bar underneath the weapon or whatever. I don't think that was there. Any mini bosses that did not respawn after you wrecked them once? Maybe the blob thing, but I don't think I went through the area again after it was dead. Lock-on range. Lock-on seemed to work as I'm used to. Even though it was a demo, did you happen to see any correlation lore-wise to previous Dark Souls games? Well, I did say that there was a giant ash dragon. So there's at least some dragon referencing there. There's Praise the Sun. I don't know if you would call that lore. You have a Praise the Sun gesture, though. The bar under the weapons is there in the new Gamescom footage. Oh, well. Then there you go. Firebomb throwing like Dark Souls 1? Yes, I would say like Dark Souls 1. Is it more like Dark Souls 1 or 2? Absolutely like 1. By far. How was the atmosphere? Dark Souls-esque or Demon Souls-esque? It was like Dark Souls, I would say. It was a faded sun area. This is the area. It does kind of have a dark hue on the whole thing. I don't know. Aesthetic, environment aesthetic is not usually a thing that I focus on too much, so I'm not going to have details for that nearly as much. There was a giant dragon. Frame rate 30 FPS. Did it say something about possible alpha/beta tests of Dark Souls 3 on PS4 or Xbox One PC? I don't think they said anything. Will you do runs through Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 on the night of Dark Souls 3 release? Probably. Sounds like a logical thing. I did fight a boss. I explained it all. This was the boss. This guy. Dancer of the Frigid Wastes. Does HP cap decrease every time you die? No. Our torch is useful. It's like the Dark Souls 2 style torch. I'm sorry, Scholar of the First Sin specifically. There weren't areas that required torch though. Like, I didn't use a torch beyond going, oh, there's a torch. So, unless they implement areas later where they are very important, nah. Was there dynamic lighting with torches? There was. It was very cool. Can you roll out of a gesture? I believe so. Don't quote me on that, though. The enemies behave, oh, I missed it, a certain way based on your vision of them or their vision of you. So did any enemies notice you and then after breaking vision continue to chase? I mean, absolutely. There would be a group of enemies and I would try and pull one or two at a time. Just body pull them and run around a corner and get them to do that. You know, the AI in general was Souls-like, you know, what I would expect. Will I do a fist-only run? Probably. 4 slots for rings. We're not able to see the equipment screen or the item screen or anything. How's the bow? We did not get to try out the bow, but we saw it in action at E3. Short bow is super fast. Like, super fast. Can you stop an attack animation? Not that I could see. Is there a Bloodborne-esque regen? No. Can you sneak past enemies? I mean, you can sneak to get to their backs to backstab them, but there's no sneak command or anything. I got to play for about an hour. Any weird weapons like ladle? No. Was there something I didn't like about the demo? I did mention, like, the movement for the, when you go to backstab somebody, it kind of, like, does this weird, like, slidey thing. Like, as far as positioning your character, not on the actual, like, backstab animation or anything. I don't know. We'll see. I need to play it more. I only got to play for an hour, and there's so much to take in when you're trying to analyze all of this stuff. There's still big weapons like there were in Dark Souls 1. We used a greatsword. It was large. Dreaded Cone confirmed there is no toggle escaping. Are there any new moves / animations? Absolutely. There's a whole set of new moves with the battle arts that we talked about. I don't think you can cancel attacks, like I said. Roll or dash when locked on? Roll. Definitely roll. Are the invincibility frames when you roll? As I would expect with Dark Souls. Omnidirectional rolling? I believe so. Was parry range extended over Dark Souls 1? I always get right up in the face of enemies, so couldn't tell you. The backstab, hitbox / speed feel like Dark Souls 1. The backstabs were a little harder to pull off for me, but that might just be that I was not as experienced with the enemies' backs and their animations and stuff. Roll does not change when you're locked on. Poise was there. How big was the area you could explore? Think maybe like the upper and lower Berg, with the boss being where Capra is. That's about it. Enemy item drop rate. So all of the pickups, besides a few select weapons, were either fire bombs, green blossom, or throwing knives, because I'm pretty sure they're all just temporary instead of, you know, what's supposed to drop there. 118, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the Wolfpack. Are the weapon move sets as bland as Dark Souls 2 or more diverse like Dark Souls 1? Well, there's an entire new functionality for weapon attacking, which is called Battle Arts. I suggest you look it up. I did enjoy Samurai 7, absolutely. Do you think you'll level up at the bonfire or level up somewhere like Herald? Miyazaki did confirm a hub. So it's hard to say. I can think whatever I think, but that has no impact on what actually ends up being in the game. Could you pick from different armor sets? No. You could pick 2 different characters to start with, and they started with different armor, but that was it. Would I say the dancer was as hard as Capra? No. The thing that makes Capra hard is 2 dogs. Do you experience any dead angles with enemy attacks? Nothing severe? No. I think I'll enjoy Dark Souls 3 as much as or more than previous games. As much. It's easy to escape from enemies. I mean, they'll chase you, absolutely. I'm sure they still have leash points, though. If you have long enough to run away, I'm sure you can get away, no problem. Were the origins any different? There was only 2 classes for us to choose. What button does the battle art? You need to either have a shield. You need to either have a shield that has a sword icon on it, and you press and hold L2, or you just be two-handing a weapon, and then you press and hold L2. And you have to hold it to remain in that battle art stance. If you let go, you'll go back to your normal thing. The AI smarter? It seemed... I don't feel comfortable making a generalization like that, because the AI for me is independent for every enemy. So, like, some enemies are real dumb, some bosses are real smart, though. So their AI is their own. I did not fight patches, no. There was no weapon that caused bleed that I know of. And I did not notice anything about durability, so... I did talk about parrying. What was the number under the health represent? Was it similar to Insight? No, I mentioned this was actually charges for your battle arts moves. Release date? I have no release date. Early 2016, that's it. Was there big armor / big weapons in Dark Souls 3 similar to those in Dark Souls 1? We didn't get a lot of variety. We only had 1 armor set, and then we got scimitars, Legion scimitars, greatsword, and longsword. Is there anything like humanity? Not in the demo. Is magic back? I'm sure it is, but we didn't get our hands on it. Longsword R2, a stab, or a swipe? I believe the one-handed was a jab, a stab. I didn't use it two-handed all that much. How was the camera? Dark Souls 1 camera. How well did you think the game was balanced? I mean, somebody who's terrible at Dark Souls could go in and say, this game is fucking unbalanced. Or somebody who's very experienced with Dark Souls could go in and say, this is fucking easy. Just depends on your experience. Are the graphics comparable to Scholar of the First Sin and Bloodborne? They're Bloodborne style graphics, so I would say better than Scholar of the First Sin. Stamina bar stay empty after depletion? Do you mean like that you would roll into negative stamina if you use too much? I think it does. How often did I die? When I was first playing through, before my station lost power, I was going very slowly, carefully, methodically, and I didn't die to get through about 60% of the area. But then I tried going faster and I died a lot. You talk about the new weapon stance. Yes. Did it say victory achieved? I think so. The battle art affects only the first attack? I mean, if you're in battle art stance and you use like R1, R2, then you'll do battle art attack. Was it hard enough? I enjoyed the difficulty. Can you spam gestures like Dark Souls 1? I don't know. Can you talk about the camera? I mentioned the camera. It's like Dark Souls 1. I don't know what... If you have specific questions, I might be able to answer them, but I don't recall anything special about the camera. My doggy is barking. We're gonna have to get my dog soon, and then actually start playing games today. How was the castle? I described the castle in detail earlier. It'll go on YouTube, so you can go rewatch that if you'd like. I don't remember for sure if you can cancel gestures, so I'm not going to answer that because I don't remember. Triangle to two-hand? Yes. Just pressing it once. Absolutely. Difficulty, what is most similar to Dark Souls 1 to Bloodborne or Demon Souls? They're all the same difficulty to me. Am I getting sick of these questions? No. How's the weapon durability? Don't know. Any info on PvP or Covenants? No. Do greatswords swing faster? Felt like a little bit faster as Y-hander. When you lock on in Dark Souls 1 is awful. I'm sorry you don't like it. I'm fine with it. LobosJr was the mood Dark Souls 3 like Dark Souls or Demon Souls? Dark Souls. How was the overall graphics? Bloodborne graphics, Dark Souls setting. Load times after death were not bad. It was PC. Are there sheaths again? I did not notice. You can kick the enemy, yes. If you have no clothes on your character, are you in a bikini or a boxer? You could not remove your armor in the demo. Yeah. Do you think it will be possible to use battle art attacks paired with regular attacks to chain different combos? Like, can you use battle arts on the fly? I don't know about that. I think they're more for an initiation attack, I feel like. Will I post direct feed gameplay if I get it and am able to? Can you interrupt things like levers or opening doors? No. Iframes are all there while you open doors and stuff like that. Jump stick was L3, and there's an option, Ryutaka, so don't worry. No guard break that I saw. There was kicking. Put this game in the dank category? No. Are there toggle escapes? No. Think you started the demo at the beginning of the game or just random area in the middle? In the middle. Early in the middle. The middle of the early. The setting feel like the flame was fading. That's the idea. Faded sun, kind of very warm in its feel. Speed of entering fog gates like Dark Souls 1 or 2? Like 1. It was pretty fast. I mean, you can't get hit while entering a fog gate, so they didn't have to, like, have you pause there for a moment. What we played was 30 FPS, Reiko, so I don't know if that means it's locked or what. Was there encumbrance? We couldn't do anything with our armor by removing it or adding more, so hard to say. I was fast rolling in my knight armor. How many bosses do I think there would be? I'll wait for them to tell us. Can you move while drinking Estus? I don't think so. I think you come to a stop. I know nothing about stats, Will Wiley. Has the enemy AI? Was it easy to get around them? Yes. It's like Dark Souls. So not drastically different. Did fog gates look like Demon Souls? No, they look like they looked like a better Dark Souls. They were transparent. Semi-transparent. We talked about Bare Fist, we talked about Poise. Did I complete the area? I did not kill the optional boss that was hidden behind a locked door. But I beat the boss. The main boss. Any other healing items besides Estus? Not in the demo. No NPCs or waifus. Is gravity still OP? There were not a lot of gravity areas, but yes. I think ADP is going to be a thing. I hope not. How many rings can you wear at once? You cannot equip anything. IGN Scrubs died just before the boss. Well, I died in that area too. Are there iframes when interacting with doors? Yes. Can't spell ignorant without IGN. IGN. Is your armor noisy? Yeah, absolutely. Instant parries. No delays. What consumables did I get to use? Throwing knives, fire bombs. I didn't use any green blossom, but they had it. Something else. The lighting was fine. Was great, Sloopburger, and there was no place that I needed torches, but torches look good. Instead of setting up a fact that people can look up, I'm just going to put this all on YouTube. Any new poses? Not that I saw from the gesture screen. It looked like standard ones. Will I speedrun Bloodborne again soon? Yes. IGN sucks. Oh. New weapons, Legion scimitars. Is there anything not in the demo that you hope makes it in the full game? A lot of stuff, but it's a demo, so I don't know. Was there any rain/weather going on outside? No. Was there a you defeated? I don't think it was you defeated. I think it was victory achieved. Fist is better than Dark Souls 1, absolutely. It was viable. Low or high fall damage? Medium. There's no magic in the demo. There's probably magic in the game though. I did not see any transitional battle art attacks, but I didn't work on it too much. Ultimately, I'm not sure how much I would personally use the battle arts unless it was something super unique like the battle axe buff or something like that. Using the longsword, I was comfortable just to sit with my normal attacks. But, you know, maybe it's a thing more for PvP, stuff like that. Can you drink on ladders? Did not try. You can sprint up ladders, and you can slide off ladders. Slide down ladders. You can also drop off of ladders. Miyazaki has said that there's a central hub, but there was not one in the demo. Was there anything past the dragon? Did anyone get past? It was just a rooftop. The dragon flies in and breathes fire on the rooftop, so there wasn't anything past the dragon, per se. I did try dual wielding, yes. It was the dual legion scimitars. Will weather changes be present? I have no idea. Is the greatsword as big as it was in Dark Souls 2? No. No. Different greatsword. Ladder mimics. I didn't get a very clear audio representation because it was a very loud room and I didn't have working headphones. Targeting circle or dot? I think it was a circle. Any news on the bonfire sacrifice mechanic? Not from me. PC gameplay going to be better this time, or is it going to suck again? I don't know what you're referring to. Did a demo run on PC? Yes. How are the physics? Physical. Map straight line like Dark Souls 2 or clover-shaped levels like Dark Souls. Well, I mean, I can't give you the entire scope because I only played a certain area, but it's very much, you know, wraparound, Bloodborne style shortcut stuff. Can all weapons parry? Certainly not. All shields can't parry, so no. I don't think there was two-hand parrying, because what used to be the two-handed parry button is now the sword arts button. Does the game look more immersive? No, it looks like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is not super immersive for me. Will we be avoiding spoilers with Bloodborne? Like with Bloodborne? Yes. Yeah, I'll be... They'll probably give me an early copy, but I won't play it. You know, I'll just have it ready to play for when the game goes live. Is lockpicking still in the game? Yes. So is... so are stealth interrogation tactics. There's no quick time events. Sprinting uses much stamina as Dark Souls 2? I don't know. Probably not as much as Dark Souls 2. How much range does the camera give you when locked onto enemies? About the same. Like, you have a longer range once you're already locked on than locking on initially. Did I speedrun the demo? Yes, actually. After I beat the boss the first time, I speedran through with the second character that you could make and killed the boss again. Are there wall jumps? No. You like cheese with my Whopper? I'm really fucking hungry, so... Was it fun as I thought and hoped it would be? Yes. Yes. Can you parkour? Yeah. Yes. You can jump onto rooftops. Fists, are they cool? You can do a charge fist attack, and your regular R1s do 15 damage. So Dark Souls 3 is easy. Yes. Go into it playing thinking that way. Any swimming? No. Will it release on PC late? I don't think so. Did it exceed my expectations? That's for the game to do, not just the demo. We'll see. Alright, I'm seeing a lot of repeats now. No NPCs, no secret walls. Bloodborne combat, no. Yeah, now we're getting to the troll questions. So. Ragdolls are back, yes. How do you regenerate sword arts counter? I think it's just on death or possibly bonfire touch. I don't know entirely. So, we've come to the end of the Q&A section. Thank you for listening to Dark Souls 3 talk for 2 hours. I'm going to get some food. I'm going to feed a dog. And when I get back, we are going to continue with the Bloodborne slow run. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I will upload this to YouTube in case you missed any questions or descriptions that you wanted to hear. Things like that. I'll be back in probably about, depends on what food I make, I would say 10 minutes. So take your breaks, Get your foods, get your snacks, get your bathroom breaks. Think about Dark Souls 3. Go check out the stuff from Gamescom, because I'm sure there's... go check out Terra Mantis, Dave Control Live. I know they were releasing videos right at 11 with their takes on the Dark Souls 3 stuff, so there should be lots of crap out there that you can go see. We're doing Dark Souls... we're starting Bloodborne, New Game Plus 4 with the Stake Driver. So, Stake Driver hype. I'll see you guys in just a minute.